Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuque,
David Wynn.
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in any market. Today, guys, we've got some really special guests. We brought in Clint Ritchie from the Ritchie Mortgage team at Click and Close, and we've got Robert Meche. And Clint, this is your guest, brother. Why don't you do the honors? Give him the walk up.
Yeah, thanks, Devin. So Robert is a big time broker in the North Texas region. He's got 3 offices around the state. 120 plus agents.
120 here and probably another 30 or 40 in the southern part.
Okay, yeah. So he's been in the real estate industry for 20 some odd years,
22
and
now, yeah.
more importantly, he's also a coach and an instructor at Champion School of Real Estate. And one of the other things that he's most notable for is his barbecue prowess. Thus, the reason why his name is the Smoker Broker. So, why don't you give us a little insight on that first and foremost? Because obviously, I'm sure a bunch of our fans and followers are hungry. So, how'd you get into that, Robert?
Well, it's embarrassing, and I tell everybody all the time, but I'm pretty genuine, so I don't care. We got into it because we kind of just liked hanging around drinking, and that was a great excuse to do it. So we started doing that, and then we started doing a couple of these events, and it was horrible. We were terrible. We didn't know what we were doing, stupid. And then over time, we just actually kind of accidentally got better at it.
Yeah, so you've got some award-winning barbecue, right?
Oh, yeah. No, we're
featured.
We compete against the professionals. I mean, the guys that you see on TV, we're right next to them when we go out and about. Now, we don't do it near as much as we used to. All of us work,
Yep.
so.
Well, you've got all those offices, bro.
Well, yeah, it's
hard. You
hard.
gotta be busy.
I mean, we're lucky if we can do 3 or 4 a year.
Yeah.
And we usually do charity-based ones these days.
Love that.
But that's where it came to. We did it for a long enough time, and we did start winning, and we enjoyed that. But we enjoy more just the camaraderie of everybody. And Go ahead.
So buy a house and get some barbecue.
I get that a lot everywhere I go. Anytime I sponsor somewhere, they're like, "Is there going to be barbecue?" And I'm like, "No, it takes a longer time to do it, but
slow and low, right?"
I wish I could. Yeah, and the name is also a joke too. One day I was I played cards with a group of people for years, and I came in one day and someone said, "Hey, Smoker, how's it going?" And then one of the other guys at the other end of the table go, "I thought you were a broker." And then I was singing him Smoker Broker for the rest of the time. It stuck all that time now. So that's what that all came from.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you and I have had this, I've had the pleasure of sitting down with you at your office and kind of figuring out what makes you tick and what motivates you, what your why is, and how you transition from the corporate world and get into real estate. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's great. I love that conversation because that is really how I got into it. I was working with the executive crew out there at Foot Locker, Foot Action USA, and Just for Feet about 20 or so years. Yeah, about 20 or so years ago, and as a younger accounting executive at the time, and Just for Feet, you don't see him anymore, and that's how I got here many years ago, and that was a blessing in disguise. I thought it was terrible at first, but we had been flipping some houses at the time, and I'm going to say I had a severance. I didn't, but I had to go in for a little bit, but I really had 2 years where I could do what I wanted, and it was almost a joke. It was almost a dare where someone said, "Hey, you should do real estate." I'm like, "That's so stupid. I'm not doing this. That's so dumb." A conservative, a salaried accountant to idiot commission-based fool. I go, this is going to be a very ends of the spectrum. And anytime I actually speak in front of large groups or do any type of presentations, I always tell everybody it was a complete joke. I never thought that would happen. But I think most of the things that we do, that's not what we expect and walk into it.
Right? Look at you now. You've had so many accomplishments, right? You've got the brokerage. Yeah. You're doing the instructing. You're making great barbecue, right?
Well, for me, what's really great about it is it doesn't feel like work. I work probably 80 hours a week, and I don't actually feel like I probably really work actually 10 hours because I enjoy like stuff like this. I enjoy it.
The passion.
Interviews. I mean, I truly do. I'm in my early 50s, and I honestly, retirement's not on the horizon for me just because I wouldn't want to, so I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, Clint, let me ask you something real quick because you guys have known each other for a little bit, and also obviously our followers, they need to know a little bit about you. But talk about you and how you met Robert and how that relationship started.
Yeah, that's a great question, Devin. So, for those that don't know, I actually come from a real estate family. So, my dad's Gary Ritchie has actually been in real estate since 1978. Started with the old ERA.
I was 2, by the way.
Yeah.
We joke with him about it a lot about it.
Yeah, the ERA, and then at some point he became a director of corporate training at the Keller Williams at Preston Road. And then my mom, Peggy Ritchie, got into real estate in '84. She also started at ERA, and then she was at Ebby Holiday for 10 plus years. And then she was actually one of the first agents that Gary Keller from Keller Williams recruited away from Ebby to start Keller Williams. And so at that point, we owned an office in Richardson, a market center, for 8.5, 9 years, and that went really well. It was a great learning experience.
Yeah.
And I think the way I met Robert was through my dad, because my dad just has a passion for helping people. And helping especially newer agents that are kind of like, okay, I'm now an agent. I got my license. Now what? What am I going to do?
Right.
How do I make money at this? Right? How do I feed my family and pay my bills?
When you were born to the business,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes a difference too. I mean, there is qualities from the real estate family if you're born into it. It does make a difference, I think.
Yeah, I say when I'm talking to clients and realtors that I like working with, I say I learned what to do and what not to do, and that's the reason why I'm not in real estate, because my mom was so dedicated to her processes and her daily plans that she wasn't willing to deviate from any of that stuff. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can do that.
And look at you now.
Yeah.
And look at you now.
And so I just went a different direction. But that's how I met Robert. I was talking to my dad, and I was like, hey, I really want to team up with a solid, just a solid individual that can, put me in front of as many real estate agents as possible. Because at the same time, just like you, Devin, and you, Dave, it's like we get into the business because we truly like helping people.
It's a service.
Right? And the byproduct is obviously we make a great living. We have time flexibility, and we can do the things that we want to do with our kids, right? And that was one of the big appeals to me. But so I met Robert through my dad. My dad was like, yeah, he goes, man, there's a guy that I really want you to meet, quality dude. I teach with him at Champion School of Real Estate. His name's Robert Meche, and I was like, well, put me in contact with him. Give me his cell phone. And so my dad fortunately gave me a cell phone. I reached out to Robert, and man, Robert was so open-minded and helpful, and it's like he'll say this. It's like he's like, hey, look, Gary Ritchie.
Yep.
He goes, you're his son, so you're family to me.
Yep.
So
that's exactly what we said.
So anything I can do to help you be successful, anything you want me to help you do, say it, and I'll make it happen. So
you guys have a bond.
So that's
That's exactly how it happened too, just like that, word for word.
Yeah, that's just the type of quality individual that Robert is, and I want to ask this, Robert, because I've talked to my dad about this, and we touched on it, but I don't know if we got into too great detail. I want to get a more granular in regards to you worked at Keller Williams, you had a brokerage, then you left, went and started SWR.
Yeah.
And then you came back again because Gary Keller had the foresight of saying, okay, the real estate industry is evolving to more part-time agents that you want to do real estate and kind of build their way, grow into real estate business. And there wasn't really a niche or a solid brokerage at the time that was doing that. And he tasked you in regards to kind of building that model. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it was more me going in there with that's the mentality that I had, and it was a niche that we used for the team to grow it. I would say Gary was more acceptant of it because he knows that is eventually a part of the future. I mean, and Gary runs the largest brokerage in the world. He's still going to always push for full-time agents because in the end, that's going to be the better agent. But the philosophy that I'd always had was like, I agree, but some of them have to start part-time to get into full-time. And, I created SWR out of empathy. I had to do it part-time. Right. There is no way where I was coming off that job.
That's right.
And refresh my memory, what does SWR stand for?
So it's Small World Realty originally. That's,
okay.
And that was fun going through trademark with Disney. They loved that. But it had nothing to do with Disney. We did it because I had degrees in marketing with small target marketing.
Gotcha.
And I always believe that you should be able to do very well where you're at before you kind of expand. And I always wanted the world in there just in case we did decide to go out of state, which we do now. I thought it was always going to be hard to move Lone Star Realty, Mockingbird Realty.
Right.
So that's where the name came from. But when we came back into Keller, it was so long. We probably should shorten it and just make it look a little more professional in there. But we came back. I started at Keller, and then we started the SWR and ran it for 15 years as an independent firm, and we did very well with it. In fact, when we came back to Keller, it wasn't any type of sign of weakness. The bottom line for us is the technology really became an issue, and I started getting pushed around by people like Zillow and Open Door, which that's not a negative comment towards them. It's a reality that I don't have deep pockets. Yeah, I don't have pockets like that. And I saw the writing on the wall. I knew where this was going. I thought right up until 5 years ago, I felt we did everything just like any other broker did to the best of our ability. But when you got people that start buying, $400,000 homes, just because they can,
right,
and offering incentives to use mortgage companies and all that, it becomes tough. And I needed a little bit more backing into it. So I came back into Keller, and where Gary, and you're right, where he was really instrumental was that he has opened up his doors to brokerages and teams like mine, whereas maybe 10 years ago he would have never done that. But today he knows that our teams can operate in his under his umbrella and still keep our own identity and keep to his rules. And it's a great teamwork for us because we continue to operate and keep our own identity, but we carry the Keller's name, which is very powerful in the industry. So that's why we came back in.
Brother, that's awesome. Quick question for you. So we know we're here in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And our followers, they know we're here in Dallas. You said that you started off here, but you wanted to take Small World Realty across the United States.
Yeah.
Where are you doing business today?
Well, I tell you, it's evolving as we speak, and it was one of the other reasons why we came back in because Gary had just recently finally opened up to where we could cross state borders without having as much issue.
Right.
That's what he called his Keller Williams expansion network. And it allowed someone like me to go into any market that we practice in.
That's fantastic.
And set up shop as long as I had the system to do it.
Right.
So we had already done it on our own in Austin and San Antonio. So when they started, the timing was almost just, like it was meant to be there because when they started that program, we were right there in Austin and San Antonio, and they're like, well, we might as well go ahead and experiment with them.
Right.
So we did that, and then it made us quickly start adding on Houston, then Denver, and then we recently just put on Destin and Atlanta, and then in Baltimore, D.C. area.
Destin's great words for Mr. Wynn here. He loves Destin, Florida.
Yeah, well, Destin is a destination for a lot of people.
It is.
It's just as pretty as Mexico. And if you grow up in the South, especially, a lot of the folks from Atlanta and New Orleans, and even Dallas, that's a good vacation spot for them. I'm just shocked by the, since we've gone in there, the average price point, it's like $1.2 million just for a normal house. And wow, that's changed. But all those markets, they've all been opened up in like the last few months. So we're just developing it now. And we haven't really got started. We just know that we can put the pieces in place.
That's
and
great.
as time goes, we can grow it.
So you guys are kind of everywhere right now.
My intent is just to keep on putting every city I can. If I know somebody in any area that I think is competent enough to run the system that we do, I can easily do it.
Not just anybody. You want the right people in the right places.
We basically have a high-level recruiter that has real estate experience. We still run it from Dallas because we can, but we still need someone on the ground doing the recruiting, and that's what we're doing. And because we can use the Keller Williams facilities, it makes it very easy for us just to – I mean, I could go to Chicago tomorrow and be practicing in less than 2 days, and that's huge for someone like me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're nationwide too,
Yeah.
so we do business a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah,
but,
that's great.
I think you're right on the target with that. You don't want to just expand to expand. You want to make sure that you can create processes and work with the right people so that that experience you're providing to the families you're serving, right?
Yeah, it does me no good to put someone who's going to be trouble for me in another market. That
That's
just
right.
makes it, that's a subtraction to me, because now I got someone in a different market and I'm having to deal with issues. So I've really cost myself time.
Well, and you've got the experience to make that judgment call because you've
Yes.
been doing this for how many years again?
22 now.
22
Yeah.
years now. And again, talk about your team because you've got a pretty big team. How many people are on that team? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's a broad mix. You got anywhere from, and not that age matters, but it's we have literally from 18 years old all the way to like 82, 83,
That's right.
everywhere in between. I'd say 40% of our crew's part-time, and then the other 60% is full-time. We provide them the platform that they can work when they want to. Probably one of the most significant things that we do is we have a training system outside the office that they can train at night, so they don't have to go into the office during
That's
the
fantastic.
day, which was how SWR was originally built. I could not go into the office and train because
Right.
I was working. So we created a system, and it was pretty good too.
Yeah.
We claim that we can take anybody off the street and within 5 hours on any particular topic, make them just as strong as anybody else. So
if somebody's looking for a home, right, if we get an
Yeah.
agent out there that's looking for a place to go, you guys have a system in place
Yeah.
to bring them in any location, train them the right way
Right.
in their off time, right?
Right.
And you've been doing this for a long time, and you've got the experience with the Champion School of Real Estate.
yeah, which they're great too.
So you train people on the daily, right?
I do. Honestly, I've been doing it since I've been 17 years old. I don't think I've had less than 100 people working for me. I ran Kroger grocery stores when I was 15 to 25. I was running those stores full time when I was still in high school.
Wow.
Worked my way through the University of North Texas doing that, and then went straight into Foot Locker, and then eventually into my own. So, I've seen enough people that I should be able to judge when I'm talking to
Yeah,
somebody.
100%. Do you get any sleep?
Yeah, I do. It's like Clint was talking about a little while ago. One of the cool things about this is even if you do have a rough night where you only got 3 hours, which does
Right.
happen sometimes, the schedule's flexible enough during the day that if I have to close my eyes for a little bit, I can.
That's
and
good.
I do think I get enough over time. It just depends on how the week or the day shapes up. But yeah. I think I do.
So I'm curious. KW, a phenomenal realty company. They
Yeah.
have a phenomenal training program.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit about your superpowers is taking someone that wants to do this part time and
Yeah.
transition them, whether they want to stay part time or go full time.
Yeah.
Is that your brokerage's secret sauce, or what's
It
your
is. I don't mind telling everybody too. And, it's funny. One of the mega agents out there in Keller, he's world known too. Ben Kinney, he has a massive real estate platform and very well known in the communities out there. He always talks about. He's probably Keller's most high powered agent over the years, and he'll always talk in front of everybody. He'll give him all the tips that he does, and everybody's like amazed by it because it's truly a success story. And everybody's always like, "Well, why would you tell everybody that?"
Right.
And he's pretty blunt. He'll be like, "Well, I know nobody's going to take the time to do it, so what do I care? I'll give it to him." And he's right. And that's why I don't mind telling people. I really believe what drives ours, to answer your question, is it is hard to find the support after hours. My biggest gripe with any of the real estate brokerages, including Keller, if I'm not being hypocritical, is after 5 o'clock is very tough.
Yes.
And I suffered when I first started. It was
Right.
very hard for me.
Yeah.
So I had a chip on my shoulder with it. So we literally got to the point where we said we're going to go 24/7 support. We're going to guarantee it's within 2 hours. We usually are 10, 15 minutes.
That's fantastic.
And we had a tutorial system in place that outside of showing someone how to go to the bathroom, it literally showed them how to do everything.
Yeah.
My most average agent, they probably wouldn't have to talk to me if they wanted to practice real estate the way that thing's set up.
And this training program, that's your training program?
It's mine.
Small World. It's not
It's
Keller
mine.
Williams, right?
No, it's proprietary, and it's something, like you said, I do believe it's that secret sauce because it's a hard mix. You'd have to have very different credentials to create those types of tutorials. Those tutorials, and I tell everybody this too, I didn't do the old putting my expensive suits on and doing hi, my name's Robert, and today I put that camera behind me and I was like, hey, look here. In 2001 and 2002, these things almost lost me everything. So
because that's what matters.
It does.
Right? Getting them the right, it doesn't matter what you look like. If you're providing the right answers and helping people gain knowledge in this industry, you can set them on the course. You know, the name of the show is Real Estate Success Partner.
Yeah.
And the reason that we do that and the reason we started the show was because we wanted to show people that they could have success in any market. But it starts by giving them education, right? And it sounds like that's your superpower.
Yeah.
You're providing people with education and helping them find the way when nobody else is doing it.
I think the biggest key is the education, but the support. Everybody can be taught how to do it.
That's right.
But they're still scared to living death when they get out. And I really believe it's the fact that we're available 24/7 and the level of expertise that we have. I mean, Clint's father, Gary, is an excellent example.
Right.
I mean, he still answers the phone at 10:30, 11 o'clock before he goes to sleep. He'll still answer it. And Gary's been doing this for years, but we know the importance of that. I really believe that's the bigger piece of it. They're just so scared when they get out. And, you know, most of my training came from being kicked in the teeth so many times when I first got started.
We all started that way.
I always tell everybody, if you looked into Murphy's Law in the dictionary in 2001, there was a side profile of me. Because, I mean, every single thing could have gone wrong. But I actually think that that's what made us better.
That's what makes you stronger, and it's what makes you
did.
create the processes that you do, because you don't want other people to have those same experiences.
Yeah.
You want to be able to hit in, get the ground running, right?
That is exactly what we tell our guys too. I actually created that system so nobody would ever have to go through.
You're a great guy, man. You're a great guy. Yeah. Clint, you've had the luxury of working with Robert and his team, brother. You know, how does that work, man?
Well, I mean, you know, first and foremost, I think any good organization, and I think we can all attest to it, starts with just good quality people. So, you know, firstly, that he attracts good quality people because you know, he shares the same beliefs that we do. Like, you know, if they are bad examples or bad eggs or are going to be problem children, then it's counterproductive to the organization. And I've had the pleasure of working with I've actually closed deals with 4 agents. And they all have a very similar mindset in that the first and foremost, they care about their clients, and they're truly trying to educate their clients so that they can make the house buying process the reality. Because we all know, you know, whenever someone buys a house, then they're creating $80,000 to $100,000 of instant wealth for their family, right? And the more educated you can, educate the client, the better decisions they can make. And that's the commonality between all the agents that I worked with. The other thing that is a commonality is, like, you know, Robert's mantra is like, hey, I want to be able to accessible, you know, all hours of the day, right? And so it makes me a better loan officer because there's a couple of times where I've been on, spring break trips or whatever with my family, and I'm talking to
You're
agents,
a busy guy.
talking to their clients. We're texting back and forth, and it's truly a team mentality, right? They want a loan partner that is a teammate of theirs, and we're on the same page. We're saying the same things. And we're so it doesn't sound like a sales pitch. It sounds like a gospel when it comes across to the client. And so that's one of the the great things about working with Robert's team and Robert's group. And you can tell where they get it from. They get it from the start.
And we do share that principle. You're right. I don't want a vendor to come in there if they're against helping somebody at night, because I'm like, well, that's counterproductive too. I'm like, well, why would I use you if I'm the one that's doing it at night as well? So there's a lot of truth to that. And you're also right about we push big time on the ethical side of it. Yeah. We're extremely proud. All the years we've been doing it, never been sued. 22 years, and it's hard to do it in this day and age. So we press that too with the guys as well.
So helping families find home ownership by providing them a clear mortgage path and putting them together with another success partner that has the same mindset, right? Like-hearted, like-minded individuals.
You took the words out of my mind. That's our mantra here, is like-minded and like-hearted. We work in a transactional world where the monetary value comes with it. But, we were coached by a company called the Marketing Animals, and one of the things they teach us is to find people that are like-minded and like-hearted. You may be like-minded with them, but if you're not like-hearted, you're not the same. 100%. It sounds here, both of you guys are very like-minded and very like-hearted.
I'm attached to him. I mean, if he does his his reflection is going to be on me, and my reflection is going to be on him at the end. So if he does something wrong or I did something wrong, we're both penalized by it. So we're kind of in it together.
Well, I think because you're like-minded, like-hearted, you can move mountains. That's what I keep hearing. You know what? The rest of it will come.
That's right. Well, let me ask you a couple things real quick because we didn't get too personal with you guys, but I do want to ask you a couple personal questions, right? I'm going to start with Clint. Clint, you got a big family. You talked about going on spring break and stuff. What does the Ritchie household look like, right? We all laugh because we all know.
Well,
right?
yeah. And hey, you know, Robert's gotten a little bit of taste of this.
Well, that's where we're going next, right?
Because you know, we're trying to, you know, at one point, my wife Janae, who's the CEO of the family, was in real estate, right?
Facts.
Yes, and
Facts.
she actually
about the CEO part.
I love that
right?
title.
Yeah, CEO of the Ritchie family, and she was in real estate. She actually worked for the great Peggy Ritchie for about 3 years. She was the buyer's rep. And so we've been trying to get her back into the real estate aspect, and Robert and I have been working on this for some time now. What, 6 months, 9 months? We're like, you know, and he's like, is she gonna call me? Are we gonna get her on board? I go, yes, she's. I said, but you know, there's a big exam this week, and she's helping.
Well, how many kids you got, Clint?
So I got 4 kids. I got 4 kids.
And talk about their academics, man, because and their sports, right, academics, because these kids are doing some awesome stuff.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I can't take any credit for it other than just I'm the one that pays the bills. But
I answer the same.
So I have a freshman at Xavier University in Cincinnati, Grant, who happens to be an Eagle Scout, which, by the way, was a great accomplishment and even more of a rare accomplishment than I ever realized. Which
it's hard.
When he was getting his Eagle Scout, it was the Scoutmaster got up there and said only 3% of all Boy Scouts make it to Eagle.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So we're super proud of him. He got some academic scholarships to Xavier. He's doing really well. He's going to be he's majoring in computer science and wants to be on the cyber. He's actually on the cyber defense team.
That's awesome.
And then I've got 2 daughters in the middle. Avery's my senior. At Ursuline, who's just got accepted to the University of Texas in the biology department. She wants to be a doctor.
Outstanding.
She wants to either be in plastics or a dermatologist. And I've got another daughter, Trinity, who's the sophomore.
Yep.
Who's basically anything Big Sister did, she's going to do better.
Yep.
And she's actually helping me with my mortgage business. If you can believe that. She wanted me to fire her older sister.
Thank you cards,
writing
right?
thank you cards, updating spreadsheets, whatever she needs to be done, she's all about it. And then we've got Luke, the youngest, who's in 7th grade, who I say he's probably going to be a infectious disease specialist, or he's going to be the next Tony Stark, or
he's a wealth of knowledge.
Man, the kid is
just
unbelievable.
A wealth of knowledge.
We keep saying we need to get his IQ tested, but we haven't done it. But I know unequivocally the kid's got a photographic memory.
Yeah.
But none of the kids would be anything without what mom does, and mom's on top of them, and mom optimizes every option for them to be as successful as individuals as possible.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, that's what that's the most important part to me. So
Absolutely.
If I got to work 100 hours a week to pay the bills and finance this, then that's what I want to do. And her time will come because she truly cares about people as well. She's a kind-hearted person and really likes people, and so she's going to be a natural fit when she gets back into the real estate market. And
that's awesome.
I'm gonna team her up with Robert, and
Let's
we're
go.
gonna hit the ground
Let's
running.
go. Robert, what about you, brother? What's your family structure look like?
So I've got 2 boys, 15 and 13. The oldest has been in theater since he was like 6 years old, which is interesting. Both my wife and I were really good athletes. Wouldn't be able to tell now.
What are you talking about, man? You look good.
We were state champions at one point, and we were. I don't think I'm the typical where I'm upset that my kids don't play sports. I just wanted them to do something that they're that they
we
have
want them to be
with.
inspired to do the things they love.
So I always liked the fact that he went that way, and I've never missed any of his shows. They're fantastic. I cannot believe how he memorizes so much.
Right.
And like I said, it's almost been 10 years now, but he's very committed into that, and he's looking at that being his career. And then I always say Andrew which is my oldest, got the work ethic from me and my wife, Dina.
Right.
But Mitch, he's not as involved in stuff like that, but he's got the heart that me and Dina had. So he's a real tough worker, and puts his head down. He still hasn't found exactly what he's wanting to do.
He's 13.
He's young. He plays games like I did. I really can't.
Of course.
Andrew was a different mold. I mean, but they're both great kids. And my wife, Dina, we met at Foot
Great
Action.
lady, by the way.
What's that?
Great lady.
Yes,
Awesome
she is.
lady.
She is, and she too is the CEO of the family. I'm going to start referring to her like
You
that.
had to plug that one.
Yeah. And she's worked with me.
Don't want to get in trouble later.
She's worked with getting the firm started. She does not like real estate as much, and I love the fact that she says that because she's gone her own way with that. But she's back into finance and accounting too. But she's an incredible woman as well.
Well, and I talk about that because we talk about success in a lot of different ways. Success is getting people into homes, helping families, but success is also making sure that our families are taken care of, being there to provide for them, right? And, I think, with the accomplishments which you guys are talking about here, success is across the board, right? So really cool stuff. Well, guys, I know we're getting close to the end of this one, but I want to make sure that we didn't miss anything. Robert, is there anything I should have asked you that we didn't ask you?
No, the one thing I've been talking about recently, and I think this benefits each of you guys as well, and I don't know why it's now, but I've gotten on this kick lately with anybody that's really starting out. Like if they're 18 to 30, I don't think we ever put it in perspective that they're probably going to buy 6 to 8 houses.
That's right.
If they got their real estate license when they started, they're probably looking at having $100,000, saved by the time they're 45 or 50, and that's the only guarantee investment they're ever going to have. So we've really been pushing a lot of people, even if they don't want to do real estate, they should start getting into it at an early age. So that was one thing I hadn't discussed in there either. But we love doing this. We love mixing it. We love trying to live life to the fullest, and that's why the barbecue stuff on the side always keeps us.
I'm going to get some of that barbecue, Robert.
It always keeps us
Hey,
young
you're
at
second.
heart.
I'm first, Devin. I'm still on the wait list, man.
Yeah, and of course, if you ever wanted to find out about us, you could always go to joinswr.com, or you can always catch up with me at smokerbroker@kw.com. Those are the easiest ways.
There
to
it
catch
is.
up
There a
with me.
phone number too, Robert?
214-683-8973. That's 214-683-8973.
I love it, man. I love it. Clint, how about you, brother? Anything we should have asked you before we fire this one off?
No, I think we pretty much hit on everything. I do like to say that the like-minded and like-hearted is extremely important, and now that we've gotten more into the retail space,
Yes, sir.
that's more prudent than it's ever been. Helping clients is one thing, but I think partnering with a real estate professional that shares your same views and wants to really help people accomplish what they themselves never thought they could do.
That's right.
Is extremely important. And I would like to point out is we're running into a lot of hurdles with clients saying, well, I want to wait till rates come back down.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that too.
Rates to come back down. Yeah. And my rebuttal and response to that is home prices appreciated 5 to 10% a year. That's
You just did a podcast about this.
Yeah.
5 to 10% a year, regardless of what rates are. And so and we all know that our experience is you make money in real estate going into it, what you buy the house at. So if you're going to wait a year and the house goes up 10%, so now a $300,000 house is $330,000. There's no guarantee that the rates are going to go back down, right?
Well, and you lost out on that equity you could have been building.
So my what I try to educate clients is hey, marry the house and date the rate, right? Robert's heard me say this
Heard
before.
that one before.
Yeah. Marry the house, date the rate, and then that let's buy the house now and get some instant equity so my house can start appreciating at 5 to 10% a year. More importantly, I'm going to get a tax write-off, and then if rates come back down, you know what? I might know I might know a great mortgage company that would be willing to refinance them. Do you know one, David?
I want to say one thing on that before they close it out too, because I think it's the most important piece, and I can't believe I didn't address it either. But the whole rate thing, we have a general public that has been taught that a 4% rate is normal.
Well, they got spoiled.
Spoiled. It's like fantasy land.
It was an
it went
aberration.
too long, and you'd have to have something like a COVID to drive it further.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how many people don't realize
It was a perfect storm, wasn't it?
Most people don't realize that the normal acceptable rate in this country is 11%.
That's
over
right.
time.
Yeah.
They're still doing 8% rate is very good. That makes you sound
Absolutely.
sick. If you're waiting for it to go lower, that's not going to change anything.
And they commonly forget that the interest rate on renting is what?
It's 100%.
100%.
Yeah, 100%
Yeah,
right.
so
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 7, 8, 9%.
You'll never fail in real estate. You never.
Yeah, it's still a lot. My math's not very good, but still less than 100, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Right? So, no, I think we hit it all, Devin. I mean, that was awesome, man. I really appreciate Robert coming in. And
I appreciate you guys having us.
Oh,
It's great.
brother, yeah, maybe we'll bring you back another time,
Anytime. Love
and get
talking
you
about
on
real
here.
estate.
Yeah.
Talk it all the time.
Absolutely. Clint, real quick, brother, before we sign off, like I said, how do the folks find you, right? How do they follow?
So there's a couple of different ways. So we have RichieMortgageTeam.com. That's RichieMortgageTeam.com. And then my direct number, 972-679-1028. That's 972-679-1028. Call or text, and either myself or someone from my team will reach out, and we'll get you taken care of and get all the questions answered.
And I think that goes for both of these guys, right? I mean, again, if you're looking to buy a house and you need an agent that's going to take care of you and put you in the right direction and make sure that process is done the way it should be done, Robert's your guy.
Yeah.
And if you need a loan officer behind it that's going to make sure that your loan is taken care of and you can really put yourself stress-free and get to that completion with no hassle, Clint's right here for you. David, brother, anything you'd like to add before we tie this one off?
I think we said it all today. You guys are awesome guests. Awesome.
Amazing.
We appreciate you guys having us on,
Absolutely.
honestly.
Love talking about it anytime.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, guys. Well, I guess let's go ahead and call this it. So I'm Devin Dubuque.
I'm David Wynn.
And we're your real estate success partners. If you want to find us, you can check us out at www.realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. We're on all the major networks. So we'd love to have you guys check us out and, click the follow, write us a review. We love those 5-star reviews. So again, thanks for coming in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.